All right. Good evening. Everyone say good evening back.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. I am Starley. I am mentally broken from this week of CSC, and I have to cover LE Prem. Oh god. You know, I really tried to find FAs to do the weekly drop, but I couldn't find any. So, I had to get these 3 rejects. Found a curio in the dumpster after the mental torture he subjected me to last night, and we'll talk about that. I found Chip app, not in the dumpster, but at the top of the standings. And then I found Manifest, because turns out when he left Big Slime, there was a secret contract clause that stipulates that he has to be on the weekly drop at least once, and he has Kono and I in a bit of a tight bind. So, congratulations, Manifest, you win.
Thank you. Might be at the bottom of the leaderboards of Elite, but at least I get a weekly drop appearance.
Yep, that's exactly right. That's
And he's
damn
number
right.
1 in our hearts.
That's right.
But let's get a little serious. Yeah, let's start talking about Elite, because this season Elite is actually, like, standings wise, it's actually pretty competitive, which is why I wanted to start off with. If you go to the standings, which I believe they've been more or less fixed so far.
I think the
I know.
standings are accurate, just some of the stats are missing.
Yeah. So wait, Chip, have you guys played DRG yet then, or no?
No, we were supposed to play them Thursday last week. Like, not this, the 10th, I guess that would have been. And one of their players was, like, coming in and out of internet all day.
Okay, well then, fuck
So
that.
we
So
are.
then everyone's played 6. No, some people have played 7, but most people have played 6. And there are like 8 or 9 teams, I think, on 4 wins straight up, which is kind of unheard of, because I don't remember last season's Elite standings. Let me see if I can't find them or not.
You
But
should
back
just
when
be
my
able to.
boomer ass
Yeah.
was still playing in 13, I'm pretty sure all of the playing teams had a negative record, which is,
I think
well,
it's gonna look that way this season too.
And we still have
think
a
so?
season to go.
Okay, so I guess technically last season only Sav was. Wait, they couldn't have been. Okay, so I guess last season's stats were not clean either, because there are various games played across the board. But the 10 seed Lions last season were 5-6, and they were the last team in. The play-ins at 5-6. As of stands right now, though, my understanding is, well, never mind. I guess H4K is technically leading the pack at the play-in for 3 and 4. But regardless, given the amount of games still left in the season, I think there's 4 or 3 remaining, depending on what team you're representing, right? Like the fact that even the bottom tier of teams could technically like leapfrog their way up is kind of shocking. Um, all of you guys are playing this season. Like, how has the season felt, like strength wise?
I think it's been pretty competitive. Like we're 4-1, but I also don't. Other than MD1, I think we won by 4 rounds, and every game other than that, I'm pretty sure has been double-digit rounds for both teams. Actually, we did 13-4 LEC, but um, other than that, like every team has shooters, and it just comes down to like a handful of very tight rounds that could go either way.
Yeah, I'll say, as a team that's kind of struggling right now, I think we're kind of I feel like the season, like the teams all feel like you said, like everyone has shooters. Everyone, like I feel like any team could come in any night and just win. But the difference to me is like you were saying, the just the tight rounds, like not losing your ecos, winning wherever. But competition wise, it feels really tight, and like there, yeah, just anyone can pop off on any given night. It feels like, and that makes the tier really hard and really hard to predict as well.
Oh,
And
thank goodness we don't have 4 sets of predictions coming up in just like a minute.
Yeah, I know.
Gonna make you all look stupid. Sorry, Ak, I cut you off. What were you gonna say?
nah, I was just gonna agree with them because the games that we've played, we've had like, or the start of our season was kind of weird because we win 13-3 against Cal, lose 13-3 against Nan on the same map, and then a 13-9 and then another 13-4. So it's like been really back and forth to the point where it really just depends on who shows up because every team I feel like has their own shooter that's like really good. And I don't feel like there's a certain team that's overly stacked, which has kind of led to this point where there's no team that's undefeated. There's no team that is defeated. It's kind of just a melting, like a melting pot just in the middle.
Yeah, and if you look at Kono's screenshot right now, really only 2 teams have a winning percentage on both sides of like the half in OS and DRG, which is kind of insane. Um,
Wait, don't we? Am I
Not
I
in,
tripping?
guess
not in
not.
CT.
Not on CT apparently.
Oh no, we're second on this list. I see. Never mind. I
Yeah,
thought we were at the top. I can't read.
yeah. So you have one of the best T side win rates, but your CT side stank, bro.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I guess that leads into my second point. When you look at this graph, like, why is everyone's CT side so bad?
Hey,
I was talking
who's everyone?
to Starly about this a little bit before you guys all got in here, and my thought was like, if you look at the maps that Elite has played this season, the mostly CT sided maps have not really been played a whole lot this season. It's been like Nuke has been played twice all season. I think even like maps like Mirage haven't been played that much, like maybe 3 or 4 times. It's
I think
mostly been your
UPS has played it a
T-sided.
couple.
We've
It's
played it
mostly
3
been
times.
your yeah, I've played it twice, I think, as well. But it's mostly just been like your super T-sided maps, your Infernos, your Anubises, and your Ancients maps that you're gonna win a lot of T-side rounds on, and it's a lot harder for those CTs to win a bunch of rounds.
Yeah, I also think part of it just kind of comes into like culture is maybe a big word for it. Of the tier where like a lot of elite guys just like show up on match days and like play a scrim, play a match, and then go home. So it's just gonna be more like kind of puggy Counter Strike, and like if you have a guy who can just shoot, like we have Jamer, UPS has Clumsy, Gas has Rival, like those guys can just like go somewhere and like catch somebody off guard, and then the round is like just over because they have just created like a huge gap, and then like there's 5 people in the server who are smart enough to play a good T side who will just like expose that.
Yeah, and I got 2 things, Starly. One is who's everyone? You said everyone earlier. You said everyone was bad at CT side, and then like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm looking at the graphic right now,
Uh-oh.
and it's looking a little weird on the UPS side. I don't know.
Yeah, why is your T side win rate so bad? Is that what's weird
There's
about it?
Mirage Merchants, bro.
We played Mirage 3 times, and all 3 times we started on CT side, and all 3 games they were stomps. Our 3 Mirage games were 13-3, 13-3, and 13-4.
I think we should disqualify all 3 of those because they're on Mirage.
I feel like we just should disqualify the Nan one, the Nan one game that we played, and both the other ones are fun.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
we
All
beat
right.
Nan on Mirage.
Hey,
Yeah,
good
that
for
was a
you.
crazy game.
Yeah, we didn't. It
We definitely didn't start
was close though.
4v5.
was close though. But yeah, apart from that, kind of like what Manny said about just teams gravitating more towards T-sided maps. That, and I feel like with the nature of just Elite in general and like how even the teams are, unless you're calling super dynamically on CT side, you're pretty much just gonna run into like 5-man death balls on T side. They'll just run through everything.
Yep.
So you kind of just have to like gamble stack if you want to like decisively win CT rounds. Because if you're defaulting pretty much every round, and just waiting for them to go into you, you're probably just gonna get steamrolled on a site.
I agree.
I'm just kind of curious because I've been out of practice for so long now. Is the map pool really that T-sided right now?
Oh, I
Um,
super think so.
It's a lot of
Has like always
Anubis.
been
A
T-sided.
lot of
I think.
Anubis, a lot of Inferno.
Inferno and Ancient, I would have said were pretty 50-50 before the CT Molly change. But
Yeah.
now I think playing T-side on those maps is a lot easier. Because it's a lot easier to contest mid on Ancient. Like you can literally, it's like almost impossible to throw like a perfect mid Molotov now to deny the run out through the elbow smoke. And you just get a lot more wiggle room early on in Banana to get through.
Yeah, you can literally run through the first, what, like 2 or 3 ticks of the CT molly and take like 5 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember also we were scrimming. I was filling a scrim for my elite team, and some sweat lord found like a smoke that bounces off elbow or whatever that like pre-extinguishes like the double molly that was really common
Yeah.
before
Yep.
the molly changes. I was really upset at that. I went back and I hugged the Blitzer SSD about banning instance after that scrim. I lost like all confidence I had in my play. I was like, really? Like, what happened? What happened to Ancient, man?
Yeah.
We
There are
found an
many
instant for that
instances.
one too.
I do
But
think something CTs could do more on Ancient is double molly it early, so you throw a molly like deep into the elbow instead of that instant smoke. Because
Yeah, we
then,
played someone who, I think it might have been when one of our scrims with you guys, that you guys were throwing a shallow smoke and a deep molly, and it was demolishing us.
yeah, it can be really oppressive because it just gives you so much time to get down, and most teams are not expecting that, so they're not ready with like molly in hand to get a good timing through the initial like deep elbow molly.
yeah, has Elite just been the Ancient and Anubis Fest again this season?
Unfortunately,
We haven't
I
played
think there's been
anything
quite a bit
else.
of Inferno. I think there's been quite a bit of Inferno,
I've
surprisingly. It's
been
making its comeback.
trying my damnedest to play Mirage every single match day for the memes, but people just aren't having it.
We've played Ancient twice and Anubis 3 times.
That is disgusting. I'm very sorry to hear that.
I think
That's
we've played
fine.
2 Anubis, 2 Mirage, 2 Inferno, and 1 Ancient. So
Damn.
we got a little bit of a share.
You play every map, huh?
I
You're a
guess
7-map team.
not us two. I want to, but the
Oh,
rest of the team
people that are
doesn't.
listening, write that down.
Play
Does
anything
anyone play
but.
those two outside of you guys, Zach?
I was gonna say
Probably
maybe Cow. I
maybe.
would say Cow would if between heal and all those two
I
13
do
0'd
love
me
me some
last
Dust
season on
too.
Dust 2, and it was those two carrying.
Pretty much just because I could tell my opera to go kill people, and I could tell Clumsy to go kill people, and it's like the easiest. I don't have to call anything. It's pretty
Yeah,
great.
Clumsy's good at that.
Occasionally.
When he gets the baiter mindset out of his head, he needs to wake up. Yeah, I don't. I guess the map pool really is just that T-sided, huh? Because when you look across at like all the other tiers, it's like a much more balanced distribution. I just like quickly glanced over
Yeah.
to Chally and Contender, and I don't know if that like maybe the tier culture starts to shift a little bit, right? Like you guys were mentioning, like some players just have the confidence to start taking like it looks really stupid, but they are like good fights at least early on. But you look at like Chally and Contender, like Kono, if you want to go to like either of those tiers, like all the top teams have a good CT win rate.
We're
It's
just
like
built
kind of
different.
weird,
Whoa, damn.
right? And
Yeah.
it's like
You know, you're right.
here, at least here, right? You can kind of see like the teams that are good on both sides of the map, and the teams that are like not so good are like poor on like both sides, right? Like just I don't know. I guess it's just like kind of interesting to see that dynamic shift because with all due respect to the lower tiers, right? It's not like they're taking any less fights, right? It's not like
Yeah.
the game is
Nah.
proceeding slower at those tiers. Like maybe the fights are messier, or like maybe the util isn't down as much as so to a T. But I just remember looking at like analytical last night. I was like, this makes no sense. Like,
Yeah,
how has
I
every
think
team got like a 60-65% T-side win rate? You know,
I
but
would guess, and this is just a guess. I don't really. I mean, I watch like the ends of my other tiers games after they
uh,
end, but I would imagine a lot of it comes down to like as like the lower in tiers you get, I think the less dynamic CT sides become, and T sides as well, I guess.
yeah,
Um, and then I think like as you play a slightly more like simplified version, it becomes significantly more CT sided.
Yeah, I agree. Which
yeah.
it's weird because I feel like we were kind of saying elites just kind of show up and shoot. Not a lot of teams are, getting reps outside of match days, and those lower tiers are sweaty boys. Those
Bro,
boys
there's
are always
grinders.
grinding. Yeah,
Yeah.
they are always
It's
grinding.
been known for a
They
while that like the higher you go in tiers, the less people start to
Yeah.
put time
Yeah.
in its try.
It's like a reverse
It's
bell curve, I feel like.
Yeah.
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 I would just say like when I played Elite, and then like Manny backed me up on this, and Chip backed me up on this. Like, I've never looked at like those like YouTube videos where it's like pro team runs like the most insane strat, right?
Oh,
Like
I
you
look at
here
those.
here are all 5 of the smokes or whatever. I was just like, just guys, let's just pick a bomb site, just fucking hit it.
Yeah, it's usually, we're gonna throw smokes here, or it's we're
Yeah.
gonna spread out and we're gonna get picks,
Yeah.
and that's it.
It's like
We
Elite level
good.
calling.
I was just gonna say, like, I've never heard of like, oh, we're gonna do Navi this, or like Tyloo that, or like,
Yeah,
like G2 this. It's always just hoof it up to the bomb site and get it stuck in there.
Don't watch my
Uh,
VODs. I'll
get
shatter
that
your
thing down
worldview.
and
no,
pull
what
the
you should
thing.
do is look up pro demo, like pro strats that they do, and then show them to your team, but then tell them that you came up with it. Like, guys, I spent
Guys, I
all
got
last night
this.
like on
Yeah, I thought
Mirage,
of these really cool scaling
and
flashes
I
we
got
can
this B exec
throw.
that we can do now, and just make them all think that you're a genius.
I was
I'm
in the
not.
labs for hours grinding,
I don't want to expose myself too
thinking.
much, but we just played UPS, and I don't think we play gas, or maybe we do at the very end of the season. But
No, I think we played in preseason.
well, there's a couple teams who you play in preseason now who you don't
Oh,
play, or you do
Yeah,
play, because there's technically 6 PMDs now. Anyway, we basically, our philosophy is to just have like really solid defaults and then have like one pocket strat that I just like send a YouTube video and I'm like, learn this. And then like 5 minutes before the scrim, I'm like, can we dry run this one time? And then we do. And I'm like, that's good enough. We'll just spam it in scrim and figure it out.
Well, be
Like,
careful, Chip. Fat. They're watching your scrim demos nowadays,
oh,
bro.
write
it
that
was
down.
against Sav. I'll call them out. We were practicing our nuke upper hit.
Uh oh.
And I literally think we ran it 8 rounds in a row. And then on the ninth and the 10th round, we threw the same util, but like went ramp.
Yeah, that they were just
And we won the scrim like 18-6 or something.
yeah.
it's
You could literally
criminal.
see like the little spirals in
Yeah.
their eyes.
Yeah.
Uh oh. That's not very nice.
Called conditioning. Fart school taught me that.
Uh oh. Okay, let's start throwing some shade because I think Rundle's an easy target. Um the topic of the day, and I think yeah, it's the first game we're gonna end up predicting, so let's chain this conversation in. Nan started off hot, was 4-0, played good teams among those four, right? Like smacked Curio, smacked my team, right? And then overtime loss to Manafort and company, right? And then lost to HG, who is also a solid team in their own, but like whatever, right? But then now you look at the upcoming schedule, it's Stab, who, despite the record, are not a bad team by any stretch. And then number one team ATL, and then AVI OS. Um, is Nan running out of gas?
Listen, I'll tell you, that team is quite on the back of Exift, and if Exift starts running out of gas, that team is cooked. The thing about that is like if Exift is dropping 30 kills a game like he has been, that team's hard to beat. We would not have beat them if we didn't play the first 7 rounds as a 5v4, because Exift still ended the game with like 35 frags and a tight loss. Like he was owning us in the 4v or 5v4. He did not care. Like that dude is very good, and if at this point in the season, like if you had to tell me to name an MVP, it would be either him or Clumsy right now, like clear and far away.
I agree. As a big Exif fan, I played with him my first season in CSC on ATL, and he dropped like a 1.35 in the regular season and was MVP. That guy is just insane. Like, one of the best mechanical players I've still ever played with, and he's also like very smart, like good util, whatever. Um, but and not to throw shade at Nan as much as I'd love to, I do think he carries a lot of the weight on that team. Um, so I think kind of like Manny said, like it's Exift go kill or Nan go lose, and there's like kind of not a lot of wiggle room.
I mean, y'all are being too nice here. I'll be the first one to throw shade. Nan's first 3 wins, including against us, had subs that either top fragged or second fragged. I had like 1.15 or above ratings. Rundle and Blizzard did not play with each other until like match day 4 when they beat like one of the lower teams in the tier. And as soon as they got out of that stretch, they started losing.
Listen, I play Nan next week, so I gotta be nice. I don't want to.
Don't want to speak it into
Yeah,
existence.
I
I'm
don't want
not
to
trying
reap
to
what I've
make.
sown.
Well, we did lose 13-3, so it was like Steve Cole. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Who like
Yeah.
dropped like a 1.5 against us. It wasn't even exit.
Steve's on their roster.
Yeah,
He's an actual player. Yeah. Yeah, I
but
was gonna say there are a couple of maps like if Exift has the support like you were saying like Steve had a 1.5 game. I think their other game that Blitzer and Rundle played, I think they played Inferno and Rundle had like a 1.4 or something as well. Like if the other guys can shoot back and like get those consistently high ratings, they're a scary fucking team.
all I'm saying is the facts are facts. Once they started playing with their full roster, they started losing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Blitzer's too busy thinking about his like day job trading stocks or whatever to perform.
Hey, he had a 1v3 against us where he pissed his pants for it, so it's worth it.
I heard about
What?
Now tell the
He's,
story.
yeah, it was he like 1v3'd us, and all of a sudden they call a tech. I was like, oh, they're finally gonna use their tech, so their subs here or something. And all they say in chat is Blitzer pissed his pants, and yeah, he supposedly pissed his pants. I think Blitzer is denying it,
Nah,
but
he can't deny it.
I knew he was
yeah,
old. I didn't know he was that old.
but yeah, they supposedly pissed his pants to win a clutch, which is that gets a lot of respect out of me.
That's
I'll tell you
dedication.
that. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. This tier is a joke, man.
I will say I'm gonna call out Blitzer one more time. He gave us a lot of shit last season when we were ass, so I'm on my Nan revenge tour. More specifically, my Blitzer revenge tour. I have no problems with anyone else on that team. Like we just had like a bad season because we were like rebuilding, and he's like, the management at ATL has no idea what they're doing. Do they even scout this tier? Like, I was
Oh,
like,
I
man, like
remember that actually.
we had like a tier max player who just like didn't play that good. Like it could happen to anybody, man. Like just fucking relax.
Reminds me of the LEC copy pasta.
Oh, dude, literally every week in his power
Every
rankings, we had an LEC copy pasta about us. It was brutal.
Oh my god.
yeah, the Blitzer his takes last season were like extra bad. It seemed like.
That's just the Blitzer special, man.
Yeah, he's been good this season. I don't think he's really
Yeah.
talked that much.
Give him time.
I think when I asked him if him not learning instant smokes is because of his like New Jersey upbringing, where I was like, do you think there's like a smoke lineup attendant in Spawn or something? And he didn't like that very much, and I think that kept him in line.
Is the
That's
attendant just
awesome.
a teammate? Is the attendant just Rundle?
No,
Yeah.
he's just like an extra guy who shows up and he's like, aim here and W jump throw.
Okay. Alright. Well, this could be disastrous, but let's try and make a playoff bracket. We don't have to predict anyone else. Like, we don't have to predict any of the results, but let's try to make a playoff bracket. This is probably going to go really poorly.
Yep.
But most ideas on the weekly drop end up going poorly. So, Kono, can I stream my screen? And then can you just feed that into the... Okay, cool. Let me try and... I need to stream my screen, so hopefully I don't leak GM Hub here, and if I leak GM Hub, I am cooked.
It's over.
I am beyond finished.
Yo, that's what GM Hub looks like, huh?
That's exactly what GM Hub looks like. Alright, let's pull up the pen. And let's try and do our best to scribble in names. Okay, so here's how it's going to work. We're just going to go... I'm going to go from like the first seed, and we're going to work our way down to all the teams in the plans. We don't need to predict who wins. We just need to know who's going to be in what seed. Alright, so who's the 1 seed? Who do we want to be the 1 seed?
I still think DRG is gonna get it personally, but I don't know if that's a popular
I
opinion.
don't know.
I think
They're...
Mino is very, very good. This is
Dude,
my
that whole
Yeah,
thoughts on
team
no,
is
that
DRG.
team
very
is
good.
pretty stacked. The fact that they have like
Yeah.
2 losses, but they were close
That's-
losses too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a 13-11 and a 13-10, so I mean,
Yeah.
that team is
I'm-
pretty stacked.
I'm fine with putting DRG at 1.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm
I think
very
probably
excited for our
ATL
game
too,
with
no,
them.
then.
Yep,
ATL
that's
can
where I
go
was gonna
too.
go.
And then
And then
what?
Let me
OS
see.
at
Let me
3.
see the rest of OS's schedule before
Yeah,
I
I think
say that.
OS, UPS.
OS
are
is
both
pretty
like-
strong. Like their lowest rating is a 0.98, and then everyone else is at like a 1.0 or above.
I do
And
think
Catalyst is
missing
like a
Prevail hurt them,
1.4
but
through 3 games. Like they're pretty strong.
do you
I wish
play
there was
OS
an
at any
easier
point?
way to
Jack?
check upcoming.
Yeah, we play
schedule.
OS next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why are all the good
They
games?
play LEC,
Big Slime,
UPS, and
UPS.
Man. So that's 3 pretty tough teams, and LEC, who I think are. Did they make a roster move? Or am I just
No, I don't
imagining
think so. I think you're tripping on that.
things? Okay.
But yeah, with Gloop Troop, Impostas, and 1Gs left, I don't know. This might be a UPS angle. Who do you guys play left?
I mean, we play. We have HG on Monday, AVI on Tuesday, and then OS, and then LEC to finish.
That's also pretty tough.
That's
I'm
also
glad we
3
played,
tough
I'm
ones.
very glad
Yeah,
we played
but I think-
Abby early in the season.
I think UPS schedule is marginally easier.
We don't play
I'd say
H4K, we
marginally.
don't play DRG.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Whereas OS
probably
isn't
give
too
it to
bad.
I'll agree.
UPS then,
UPS is
but
fine.
Yeah, it's whoever wins the UPS.
Yeah, it's whoever wins the
Yeah,
UPS
I
versus
agree.
OS game.
So who would be 5 then?
I don't know.
can't
Are
even
we
pull
just
the
like
standings.
sleeping on Nan?
Uh,
no,
they're
I don't
slowing
think we are.
down.
I don't think we
Yeah,
are.
That's
I
the
Who's
would
whole
their
the last
schedule left?
segment.
I think I would. Is there a rest of the schedule tough? They have
ATL.
us, Abby, and OS. Yeah, that is pretty tough.
Oh yeah, I
That's
don't
pretty
know if they
tough.
win another game.
Damn.
I don't know.
Damn, they're really
Um,
slowing down, huh?
I would maybe put them 5 or maybe even 6.
No, I think BS probably gets 5.
I still
I think BS
Nan
is pretty good.
goes.
I think
I still
HG
think
is kind of
Nan
the sleeper
skips
team.
play-ins. HG is.
I
pretty
think they skip
good.
play-ins. I was gonna give them 6. I don't know, man.
I will say,
That's
just keep in mind, tiebreakers are a lot less stupid this season.
This
And
is
Big
true.
Slime
Is
did
it-
just beat HG, so they do hold the head-to-head. So if we're trying to be as accurate as possible, you probably have to put HG under Big Slime if you think they're going to end on similar records.
Okay. So do we want to do? I don't know. I
We
would
can
go
give Nan 5. Yeah, we
and
can give
then-
Nan 5.
We'll believe in
and
them.
then Big Slime.
I'll
Then
put
HG
HG
first team
7.
in play-ins.
Yeah.
Alright,
Oh.
who haven't we?
H4K, no, has to be here.
Yeah, I was gonna say H4K.
H4K probably.
Or Sat. What about Avi?
Sav's not bad.
Yeah,
think
where's
Avi's
AV?
pretty
I,
good.
I just like. I feel like H4K has pieces that like should be pretty damn good. Like I thought they were gonna be like one of the best teams in the tier.
Yeah, losing
Early on?
Scalpy hurt them a lot. I think he was definitely one of their like.
Why did they
playmaker
lose
guys.
Scalpy? I didn't know the.
ESEA hell.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's
The
like
guy who didn't
faithful.
know that IM was on
Another-
Tuesdays and Thursdays as well.
Yeah. Another faithful warrior of elite lost to the hell of ESDA. We have hit double digits this season, I think, just like alone.
I don't know. I might put Avi at 8, but I don't know if you guys have played them, but
Not yet.
I've played them, and Boosh has played with Big Z in the past, and like Big Z is like an incredibly smart Counter-Strike player, but Boosh said like maybe to a fault for like the kind of league this is, where like
Mhm.
a lot of his stuff is like so like intricate is maybe the wrong word, but like requires such an in-depth understanding that it like takes a lot of time to come together.
I've also played with Z, and I guess I can see that. I don't know. He's just super knowledgeable about the game, and his calling style is definitely more tactical than a lot of what Elite's doing. So I think that's kind of what Bush is trying to say there. But yeah, I can see that.
He was
I
talking
don't know,
about like,
there-
how chains in a link can't move with each other, and he's like, "That's what Big
Yeah.
Z would always tell me."
Yeah.
What? I'm like, bro, let's just like default and then go B. Like, I don't know.
AVI schedule is Big Slime, UPS, Nan, Greenhouse.
It's not an easy schedule.
Not
No.
easy.
No. The
Yeah, I
matchup
don't
with Big
know.
Slime's probably really pivotal, to be honest with you. I think
Yeah.
we are predicting that game? Are we? I'm about to leak this rip.
Yes.
No, no, well, this is the wrong one anyway. I replaced this. This is a different game. I think this was ended up being UPS rotation.
UPS HG.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Uh,
now 9 and 10 gets spicy.
I
Come
would
on, throw me
put
in
I feel
a
like
I
you
10.
would put
have
H4K above Sev.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
H4K,
I
and
think this
then
is way too low for H4K, but like if you look again,
Yeah.
like we talked about this at the start of the thing, or start of the stream. I think this week really says a lot, right? Like if you come out of this week 2-0, where like regardless of your schedule, like whoever you're playing, you're probably on this side of the bracket, right? But if
Yeah.
you lose even a game, like a
Yeah,
winning
especially
record probably
because
puts you
like
in this game. Like both seeds from this game
yeah,
are probably like have winning records.
especially because like when we talked about earlier how close every team is. Like,
Yeah.
dude, even the last week, if a team loses like both games in the last week, they can drop so far just because of how close every team is.
Yeah. I feel like
So
that's
it's
usually
like
not the case. I feel like
there's so much moving room right now. It's crazy.
yeah. Okay, so who are we putting last team in playoffs?
I hate
I
to
would put
say it,
Sav
but
as
yeah, I think it's gonna
10.
be Sav. This might be
Yeah.
the first season in all of my seasons of CSC that I missed playoffs, but I think if there's a chance, it's this season.
Do you play Sev at any point?
We do. We play the match day 9.
That's
That,
an important game.
that's a very
Very.
important game. It's a very, very important
Yeah, if we
game.
lose one more, we're done for sure. So
Well,
it's time to lock in.
One thing I would say, I don't think I'm confident enough to put them in my like hypothetical playoff bracket, but I do think Cal is like a team to look out for.
They're coming up.
I
yeah.
think Cal
Oh,
could
I was
sneak
gonna
up.
talk about it more in the game
it-
predictions that we're gonna do later,
yeah,
but yeah.
Yeah.
dude.
I mean, they've got 3 guys who won the chip last season. They just replaced their IGL.
Yeah.
And I don't know who's taking it over, if it's one of the
I've
people
heard it
or
was Alt
somebody.
that was taking it over last time I heard.
So that's a guy who knows what
I
calling for
love
a
all.
winning team sounds like. And I'm also a big Alt fan, even though he like kind of smurfed in contender playoffs and knocked Sirens out of the semifinals, but I digress.
And then went to UPS like every contender champion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Fuck you, Kigu. Anyway,
yeah. Fuck you,
I
Kigu.
think that team has like obviously you have a championship winning core from last season.
Yeah,
I think
and
it's
like
really hard to count them out.
yeah.
Okay, well, let's start embarrassing ourselves. I'm gonna stop streaming, and then Kono, do you wanna take it back from me? Let's. I took a screenshot, by the way, so we can look at this later and realize how stupid we are. Let's do predictions. Yeah, this is gonna be a shit show.
That's gonna be
This
great.
is gonna be a shit show and a half. All right, so we've got 4 games. Let's start with frauds versus number 1, I suppose. So it's Nam versus ATL. Do you have like a PowerPoint now, Kono, or are they all going to reveal at the same time? Okay, all right. Well, let's just take the first look then. Yeah, let's just reveal them. Whatever.
Hey, Chip App, man of a similar
Oh,
mind.
what the
Oh, yeah.
fuck? Okay, this is wow.
Damn, Starly.
I am very out of tune on the tier, huh?
What the hell? This guy
Well,
thinks he's from Elite or something.
huh?
Yeah, get up to Premiere, buddy.
Yeah. So I guess the Nan discussion was not surprising because we were all kind of on the anti-Nan train. But I think specifically like this ATL team is built to contend, right? Like it's a really strong tier, and we talked about it a little bit earlier about like the nature of the tier. Like anyone can pop off, but I think if you look over at like ATL's roster, the amount of people, like the number of people that can pop off and have popped off right in the past,
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's like consistency, so to speak, but it's like, does Jamer take a shit on you? Does like Zinsanity or like Zentaris take a shit on you? Or does like Chip Bap show up? Or it's like and it's like we haven't even talked about Boosh yet. We haven't even talked about AJ. It's like problematic. I think the only problem I have with ATL so far is it's only a 2-map pool, right? So far in officials, but
Yep.
If you start incorporating a 3rd or a 4th map now, I mean that is a problem.
We
Right.
have them. Nobody wants to play them against us.
Yeah.
It's not my
Yeah.
fault.
I was gonna say I think this is probably gonna end up somewhere like Anubis. It's the only map that ATL's lost. I think if if Exif and one other person's having a good game, I think it'll be a kind of a banger of a game, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But like you're saying, I just think the pop-off potential of everybody on ATL's way too good.
You
We'll
know,
give them
ATL,
we'll give them a good scrim beforehand. We'll tie 12-12, and
We'll
then
go
they'll go
12-12,
in and
yep.
win a game, baby.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
I
we played
Take care
Gas.
of business.
We played Gas in preseason and we went 15-15, and then we played 3 12-12 scrims.
I definitely think ATL is a more rounded team, like you guys have been saying. They're on more of a win streak. They have wins against like provably good teams. I feel like they're more of like a known like good team rather than like Nan having like stomps and like quieting down. We don't really know what they're gonna do next, but like we know ATL has like is a pretty solid team.
Yeah, consistent.
Yeah.
And not to glaze myself or my team, but if you look at the stats in Elite, I think we have like 4 players in the top like 15 if you filter out for like 3 game minimum.
Mhm.
Like I'm 10th with 5 games, and it's actually like 8th if you filter out people with 2 games. Jamers 14th. Insanity is 24th, and then Boosh fell off a little bit, but we're also missing stats for a game that'll push him back up a little bit. And like Boosh is also just like a phenomenal role player, as well as AJ, who's just like an incredibly smart caller and like has a great read on the game. So I think like we just have a lot of firepower, and if like one person doesn't show up, like somebody else is picking up our slack, which is like incredibly helpful.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next game where I have an agenda to maintain.
Do
I'm the only person who picked Cow.
you want to go first, and then we can all flame you?
I mean, I just have an agenda to push because I'm never gonna pick H4K.
No,
So,
that's fair.
Still a little bitter about that one.
yeah, mildly, a little bit. No, I think there are also other reasons to like to pick Cow, right? Like we kind of talked about it recently. Like just swapped IGLs on a 2-game win streak, right? Like this for me is like the game to kind of maintain momentum, right? Like here is an equal opponent in H4K who's also made a roster change of their own, and again by all means like came into the start of the season with a strong roster, right? Like you look across at who they've got on their team, like Miracle. I hated cutting Miracle in the preseason, but like the MMR of our elite team is so cooked, so like he had to go. But like I always had eyes kind of like on Atsumori, who I thought was a really strong player. Like Owen came up from Chally last season, was like really really strong. I think 4 gas, right? Manifest.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
supposed
He
to
was
go
a
PFA and
mid-season
didn't.
pickup, right?
Well,
Yep. And then
yeah,
went the elite draft, but we won't
yep,
talk about that.
yeah. But like the team is strong, right? And I think like it's kind of hard to say that like oh I don't want to pick this team or whatever, but like I just want to see Cow do well here. I think like alt complex and then heal and crush is just like that's just a really really strong core to go around. Like yeah, Decade's not been playing amazing, but like um I think him and like Ham Sandwich, by the way, like insane name.
Dude, Ham Sandwich is awesome. That dude, we just played them. That dude is a Chally call up, and he was going absolutely crazy on us. I think that this is going to be an absolute heater of a game, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
if Cow picks Ancient, it is cooked. I think that's the one map they they can't afford to play against H4K. Any other map I think is probably a 50-50, and I'm gonna weight my coin.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way I was thinking about it was I like House Change a lot. I love that core a lot. I love heal, I love complex. Them switching their IGL on top of like picking up big ham sandwich, like that's a good move. I feel like they're still like in the early stages of that. I'm not entirely confident that they like did this change and then they're just like immediately like like glued together. Like I feel like they might still have some growing pains after like all switching to IGL and then having a new player on the team. However, on like the H4K side, I thought like before season started, I thought Atsumori was like the best player of all time.
Yep. Yeah, I
Because he
felt the
had
same
like
way.
No, I was.
because I looked at his combine stats, he had like a 1.3, and then the match day one he dropped like a 1.5, and I'm like, what is this dude doing in the elite? What is going on?
Yeah, he
Then
cooked us.
he started quieting down a bit, and now it's like everyone on H4K is like just above a 1.0, and they're like doing worse than I imagined they would at the start of the season. So I have H4K winning, but I feel like it will be a pretty close affair.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would not be surprised at all if Cal does end up winning it.
I agree. I was inclined to lean H4K because if you look, hold on, I gotta pull the games back up. Coda just had like a masterclass game. Um, match day 6. They won 13-11 and Coda dropped a 1.26, and like for his MMR, if you have somebody who can play like that, I am like more inclined to lean on the side of that team. Because if like Koda and Atsumori just like show up on the same match day, I think that's like just really tough for any team.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's like not to count out Cal though. Like I definitely think of these 4, like this was probably the hardest one for me to pick.
I agree.
Yeah.
Even though
Well,
me and Manny
I
have
think
different picks on the next one.
I know, right?
this one is a shit show and a half. It's BSOS, and I think winner is probably like I don't want to say locked for top 6, right? But like it's very hard to see the scenarios where they're not top 6. And the loser has a real chance to miss playoffs entirely if they keep spiraling after. Obviously, I'm biased, so I'd like to hear the council of non-biased pickers for OS versus BS here.
Yeah. As someone who's non-biased, just looking at the stats, OS is like pretty strong stats wise.
Yeah.
I mean, they have Catalyst who has a 1.4. Granted, it's only over 3 games, but like a 1.4 over 3 games is still not bad by any means. Like their lowest player is Nike with like a 0.98, which is not bad. So they're like all like hovering at 1.0 or just above 1.0, and then you have like Catalyst who's popping off. Like stats wise, they're like a pretty strong team that's like all together. And then like on the BS side, I was talking to Kono about this yesterday. You have Cade who has like a 1.2, which is like insane. Like he's probably the highest fragging IGL in Elite. I know he said that in like power rankings once. And while that's like a sick thing to have, I feel like your IGL being like far and away and like in the stats being your best player is like almost a red flag because it like that structure is weird. Like if your IGL is top fragging, then who's supposed to be your star player?
Yeah.
Like if you're supposed to be like building a team around your IGL, why is your IGL the one who's like
Yeah, Starly
pretty
sound
much
familiar?
like fragging out?
I have no. I think Ack is projecting, bro. I think that's what the hell is going on right now. Like, I think brother needs
This
to hit
guy
the
hates
aim labs a little bit
clumsy.
more versus trying
Keep an eye on the
to shit
transactions.
talk
See
the
I
what
don't have.
happens.
Hey,
Sounds
he's doing good.
like a former pirate team that I
Yeah,
once played against.
yeah.
No,
No, I
I
mean,
But I'm
agree
like,
with.
let me get something straight. House and Pig do not have bad stats. They're both good
No.
players.
Yeah,
But like,
House went fucking
Cade has
nuclear
like
on
much
us. He
higher
almost
stats.
yeah.
single-handedly beat us on Ancient.
I think it just so
Um,
happens to be that Cade is like the best player on that team, like
I
Apparently,
mechanically
think
yeah.
outside of
he's
an
the
op.
consistently best player.
Yeah, like Cade he's got an incredible mind for the game, but it also helps that he shoots like a crazy person. Um, it's like a much different style of terrorism compared to me when I would just abuse CS2's like run and gun mechanics.
Hmm.
Um, because I used a lot of the Galil Mech 10 back in my day, and I mean, I never saw moving on either of those guns.
Starly was playing against plumbers when he was in Elite. Shit's different now.
What?
Um,
And then he went up to
anyway,
Prem and he got scared.
he's gonna bring up some H4K players MMRs if I keep going, so I'll
Dude, no,
digress.
you know what? You know what I got really scared of, Ack? I got scared when they put Dust 2 in the pool. I was watching
Weird
combines this
overpass him.
season, and I was like helping our teams like kind of learn. I was like, man, it'd be really really good to like start playing again, right? Because for me as
Mhm.
like a non-playing AGM, like I can feel like my grip on the game, like it's like really starting to fade, right? I don't know what the fuck's going on anymore. And I thought, wait, if I start playing though, I can't perma Inferno anymore because I also have to play Dust 2, and then I have to learn Mirage as well, which is disgusting.
Dude, I'm
And then they
telling you,
also,
give
Yeah,
Inferno a
just like
chance
either of the
again.
bug
dude,
maps.
I'm not giving
Inferno's
that.
so good now.
Dude, I'm
No,
not
it's
giving that
not.
map a chance.
Don't listen to
The
him.
like actual like sheep think that throwing like 15 grenades in banana at like a minute 30 is like the peak of CS or whatever. Like
Yeah, and
you
then
guys
if
have
you
been
lose, you
brainwashed
go,
by Big Inferno.
but bro, look at my util damage. I did so much.
That was me. I was the Util merchant back on old Vert when the only tactical depth on that map was to sprint 5 people up ramp every round. And then now they added like the side hole change, and now it's like, what do you do? It's like you could still sprint up the ramp kind of, but like the CT position is way stronger now. I
Hmm.
feel
Oh yeah.
on
It's
A.
I like
Oh
New
yeah.
Vert. I'll say.
I like New Vert as well.
Yeah. I like
Um,
it too, but it's like, again, it's just like another map I have to learn at that point. It's just like it's
Mhm.
not worth it. But a little bit off topic. A little bit off topic. I
so
think,
Yeah.
yeah.
just really
I mean,
quick, my OS pick is like kind of in line with the Curio in terms of like logic. Like I think Catalyst is an insane player. I don't know if it's Thomas or Tumas, but is also very good. And then Nike, at least playing against him in Chile, I think he was subbed out the day we played against them, but I think that's also somebody with like big pop off potential. Like if he's having an on day, like he can just kill whoever's on his screen. Whereas like Big Slime, I think has more. Like Cade is very consistent, and then like House and Pig are good for a pop off game, like alternating. But I think that OS team is just like consistently stronger, so
yeah.
I'm just more inclined to pick them over Big Slime.
Does Big
I
Flynn get side selection? Sorry,
I have no clue. But
because if they start B
my
side, they might be good.
no, I went with Big Slime The thing that I feel like is I haven't heard like a lot of OS this season. Like, yeah, they're 4-2 and whatever, but I feel like I have not seen anything about them. Like, no one's been like, this team is good. Like, I
Yeah,
just haven't
no,
heard a
they
lot
kind of
about
just
them.
like sneakily showed up in power
Yeah,
rankings like a week
yeah.
ago.
But I believe in Cade. I think he's a genius and very, very good at the game. And I just feel like there's enough pieces around him that if they get onto a map that they're comfortable on, like if they somehow get to Inferno or something, it's gonna be very hard to beat that team. Seems like they're finding form at the right time, which is perfect.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's continue my contrarian streak, and let's just talk about the last one. I admit this was probably an emotional decision after being forced to cast 30 rounds of Akira's like vomit last night on Dust 2.
What the
Um,
hell?
it is a bit of a grudge match though, because you do have Spidey and Pancakes.
Buddy and pancakes, yeah.
Yeah, like
UPS 3.
yep, members of the UPS like Chally team that didn't belong in Chally, but like we'll be salty about that at a later date.
Oh, is Cal UPS 2?
Yeah,
And
Cowie's UPS 2 and
Yeah.
HG is UPS
Okay,
3.
okay.
3, yeah. So
Zero
deep
ATL
influence across the
players.
league.
Proud.
Some people are even calling it a deep state. Um, yeah, this is another one of those. It's just like, I feel like UPS is stronger, to be honest with you, but I don't know why I really felt HG. Um, to be 100% honest with you, I think like it kind of just depends on if Pancakes and Spidey show up. I was kind of shocked last night when I saw that they technically both have under a 1-0, which I feel is like so
Yeah, even
uncharacteristic.
after Spidey stomped Nan on Inferno, he had like a
Yeah,
1.5 on Inferno against Nan.
yeah. Um, and to be honest with you, like I think HG's schedule has been a little bit softer. They've lost to DRG and Big Slime. The only win against a winning record team right now is against Nan, 13-7. Whereas UPS has been able to, well, I guess UPS has also kind of been beating up on bad teams. Wait, Akira, you guys
Sure.
haven't won against a team with a winning record.
See what happens when they play ATL, bro. Only took
Uh-oh.
us 40 rounds.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
We just
Maybe I
break
can.
all their we break all their mental after we beat them. That's what
Yeah.
happens. We
Maybe
beat
I
Cal
can.
Mesh Day 1 and they were just so sad that they didn't like they just lost all their motivation.
I don't know. Maybe you guys can convince me on the UPS pick.
Hey, our strength of schedule is like one of the hardest right now. Well, like harder than DRG's.
Is it actually?
It's harder than DRG's. It's not that bad.
Let's see.
Listen, I'll give you the rundown on this. Okay, here's how it goes in
Yeah,
my head.
44.3.
That's terrible, Ak. That's
Hey,
like
it's above DRG. It's above your
that's
team,
like bottom
Starly.
3. You're like
Is
next
it
to Big
above
Slime and
ATL?
DRG for worst.
Hey, it's above your team. Your team
ATL's
has a winning
played like
record. Your team has the same record that we do.
Yeah.
ATL schedule low key hard. Like we've gotten through. We've had a couple easy matches. I think we played Avi when they were still figuring it out, and they made some roster moves after we played them.
Mhm.
And we played LEC, who is struggling this season. But other than that, we played UPS, OS, H4K, and somebody else. I'm missing. But we've got a couple tough ones left. Nan, especially on Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, here's what I think. I had never talked to Pancake or Spidey before combines this season. I was in Chally all combines, and that's where those two were. And I played with Pancakes a ton, and I love that dude. But my thoughts on this is no Moose, no HG Elite team. Okay, give me UPS clean,
Damn.
Simple as, huh?
simple as.
I think the results of this game depends heavily on whether or not the Packers win on Sunday. Are they even playing this Sunday?
Oh no,
Yeah,
is Clumsy gonna
dude.
be down bad?
Yeah, everybody in CSC is a
Oh,
Packers fan. I don't
I feel
know.
like
yeah.
that too,
Which is
actually.
disgusting. God, they play the
Yeah, there's too
Texans tomorrow.
many. Oh,
Did they
they're
play
they're
the
They
Texans?
could
losing.
lose.
Oh, we're cooked on Monday, bro. Fuck.
Yeah, you guys
Dude,
might be
god
doomed.
damn it.
I do think. Excuse me. I think HG has a real shot in this game. I think HG is like a very fundamentally sound team in terms of like I think they have a really good approach to the way they play like CSC Counter Strike. But I think UPS is just a very strong team mechanically, and that can be hard to break through. Which is why I gave them the edge in this matchup.
Yeah. I will say, after watching one of UPS's games last night, I think there is a bit of a formula to kind of beat them. At least on Dust 2. No offense, Ack, but your guys' T side stunk on that game. In your defense, the CT side was like rock solid. It was like ironclad. I mean, Sav
Our
got
CT side is
punked.
pretty damn good this
Yeah,
season.
I mean, Sav got punked on overtime. Like, you guys completely shut them out, and a big part of it was Soma's op.
Yeah,
And
no,
so
that
for
helps.
me, yeah, like for me, it's just like, does UPS get a map where Soma's op feels comfortable, right? Because we've been playing a lot of Mirage, we've been playing a lot of Ancient, and then Does 2, like all of those. I like maybe Ancient is like the least op friendly map, but like there's still a lot of lawn angles that you can kind of find, especially over towards A, to kind of facilitate him. But you get like a little less friendly on the op map pool. I don't know if like Vert's in play. I don't know if Anubis is kind of in play. It probably isn't. UPS
They
as a
perm
whole,
ban
like as a
Anubis.
franchise, is allergic to Anubis for whatever reason.
Hey,
Um,
every other team loves it, bro. What's the point?
I
Just ban it.
I know for sure your Prem team doesn't play it unless Kando is forcing them to.
No, I don't. Yeah, no.
No, I know it's just some franchises are just allergic to maps. You know, it is what it is. But I think that like maybe if you somehow catch them or you catch someone on an off day and you catch Clumsy after a Packers loss, I think it is
Hey,
possible.
I'll carry the team on my back, Starly.
Okay, sounds good.
I'll become a Cade for a game. I'll be top
Just buy
right
a
guy
Mac 10.
GL,
Just buy a Mac 10. Just buy a Mac 10.
and we'll win.
Yeah. Buy a Mac 10 and then buy an XM when they least expect it, and then there you go. That's
And then I just won't drop Clumsy ever, like usual.
yes.
I'll bait my star player to boost my stats marginally,
Yeah. Well,
and then we'll
careful. Clumsy
lose.
has a long history of being a very successful baiter. So you gotta beat the
You gotta
master
show him
in
the
It's
that
pain
regard.
he
tough.
causes.
Yeah. But I think like I said at the start of the week, right? Like this week's games for Elite like really does feel like make or break. Obviously, like when you play 10 regular season games, right? Like everyone kind of matters, but like
Mhm.
the fact that so many games this week are against teams that are very close to you in the standings, and then also like the standings are so close, right? Yeah, put up or shut up.
Yeah. Very important week all around. Even for little guys like me, if we win all 3 of our next ones, we're right back in it. Like we
Well,
could
yeah, you're
literally
fine.
end
Yeah.
Yeah,
5-5 and fucking win,
yeah,
I just went out.
yeah,
or 4-6 and win.
yeah. Well, good episode. I got a. Did you guys see I got TB1 for Prem?
I did. That was
Yeah,
want it.
dude,
fire.
I love that.
Welcome him
Yeah.
to the franchise for me.
I will do exactly that. I know that was I know ATL
First
doesn't have a
ever
Prem team
ATL
yet, but I know
Premier player, TB1.
yeah, I know you're prepping for it because you know, so always helps to come prepared on that front.
Sir.
But yeah, I mean, let's see how this week's games for Elite go. Finally, hopefully no schedule nonsense, right? Especially
Yeah.
with the 2 hurricanes coming through.
We're
Unless there's a
rescheduling
third
again
hurricane
on
that comes
Tuesday,
through.
but
I hope not. When are you rescheduling to?
TBD.
Oh, well,
One of our players is on vacation and not responding to my DMs, so
Yeah, bro
that's a
left.
classic. That's a CSC classic right
He
there.
left. He's had enough.
Yeah. Despite being the best team in the tier, he's had enough.
Yeah, the team toxicity must be horrible.
oh
Oh,
yeah,
the
we
lack
I
all
of.
could
hate each
believe it
other.
with Boosh, man.
And Bush is my AGM. Like I let him have it.
Oh man. All right. Well, guys, thanks for coming. Yeah. Well,
Yes,
Good luck.
thank you
Good
for
luck this
having
week.
us.
Thank you.
It'll
Thanks,
be
I need
very
it.
great. I don't think, dude, Manny, just win. Okay, just buy.
That's the
Just,
plan.
just win.
Dude, just buy a Mech 10 and buy a Tech 9 and just
That's
start
all I
moving.
do. That's
Dude,
all I
did you see
do.
that vent thread that all the pros have been like kind of maintaining? There was like it was like, oh, like this part of CS2 sucks, like that part of CS2 sucks, and it's just like yeah, it's like the average player has been saying this for like almost 8 months now, but like you guys just all call this shit at the video game. Almost like we can still tell what's wrong with it, even
Yeah.
though we're really bad at it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still can't believe moving and like the SMGs are as effective as they are. I
Flying
feel like
Dude,
no
I'm
matter.
T9, best gun in the game.
You ever used the Tech 9 in CS2? That thing's the exact same way.
Yeah,
I've seen
no,
people get more flying kills with that thing than any other gun.
dude. Last night, when I was watching you guys, there was like a tragedy on the B bomb site when I think it was like a 1v1 clutch, and was it one of the UPS players posted up on car?
Oh my god, it was
Dude,
Soma.
he
No, I
was
remember that round.
midair. The Sav player was mid-air jumping off the box.
And he had 1 health. It was Bruska. He had 1 health. He had 1 health the whole round.
Dude, on the
That one
spectator
sucked.
line, he was just mid-air the entire time. Like on my mama.
And I rewatched the game. I've seen it.
I was just like,
Yeah, no, there were many clutches in that game that were brutal.
yeah. I mean yeah, kind of going both ways because you guys won a lot of situations. You guys didn't deserve to win at like 2v4, 3v4.
Yeah, no, the round to go to overtime, we lost an opening pick to the up, and then we got sprayed down through like the mid door for like all of our health.
Yeah.
So we had 2 people on no health, and so we like split A out of desperation, and it worked.
Dude. It's because you have Deluxe on your team, man. His aura is just unmatched. I wish every team had Deluxe, man. Not necessarily.
He's like the mascot.
Yeah. He really is, bro, especially with that little profile picture.
Yeah, with the cat. Everyone knows the cat.
The cat is just the best. All right, enough ranting. I gotta get Kingu in here, so please pray for me.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, thank you. We'll be right back. Yeah. But guys, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thanks. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okie dokie. Well, it's Prem time. It's everyone's favorite. Said nobody ever, unfortunately. I got TV1. I got Smart as Superman. I got the guy who lost to TV1. What's up, guys? How are we doing tonight?
Doing good.
Good, good,
Doing
good.
all
I'm
right.
living.
Yeah. Normally speaking, I don't allow two people from the same franchise to make it on, so I thought you were gonna still be an FA, Tim. And then you got signed to ATL to play Prospect. I was like, oh shit. But I was supposed to pass along a welcome message from ChipBap to you. So congratulations
Oh,
on joining ATL.
well, thank you.
Yeah.
Everyone at ATL has been really loving that I joined, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. After all, ATL is prepping to expand into Premier, so I heard you're gonna get the triple promote up again when that comes.
Oh, let's
Yeah.
go.
Okay. Well, we're here. Let's talk about Prem for a little bit. Yeah. Prem this season has been. I don't want to say it's been like a little stale, but it's been kind of predictable. Um, outside of the.
I mean,
Uh-oh.
a little bit. I mean, a little
Oh.
bit, yeah.
So did you predict the loss to DRG? Is that what you're saying, or like?
Well, no. I mean,
Okay, so.
there-
But I think maybe, Kona, can we pull standings up real quick?
We don't
It's
have to
just-
do that.
Oh, we don't. Okay, well, too late. We're doing it.
We really don't.
I mean,
What's going on, Superman?
No, nothing in particular. Why would you bring up standings?
uh, um, I think the biggest thing for me is like I expected HG to be kind of good, right? Like the defending champs. Yes, they lost Carry, right, to us over at Big Slime, but like the way they've managed to retool that roster has been kind of impressive. Like everyone except was it Jmao or Wu was on that team from last season? I think Wu is the new person.
Wu was on Cow Elite last season.
Okay. Yeah, and Wu is a good player, right? Like obviously he's going to be able to hang in Prem, but like the fact that they were able to lose their IGL and Kiri and then also just still come out 6-0 and it's like none of the games have been particularly close. Like if you look at their round win rate, like holy shit, it's like above 60% across the board. A lot of teams in Prem straight up like don't have positive win rates anywhere. Like AVI is the second closest and you know, I don't know a ton about that AVI roster. I know like Quattro is good. I know Bingus is obviously good. I'm kind of shocked Obama's been that good or Zim has been that good. And then
Aren't
Am
we
is
all?
yeah, and then Am is just casually dropping a 126 after getting promoted from Elite at like the last minute. So maybe the secret is just getting promoted from Elite makes you a really good Prem player. I don't know how you guys have felt about this season so far.
I
You
mean, I
go,
can
Kiko.
start. Yeah, I can start. I think it's kind of cool seeing like a lot of these new elite players. Like, I mean, even myself being like a force promoted to IGL, the UPS team. I think it's cool to see a lot of these elite players like Am, like Moose, like myself, Kier. The list goes on and on of like these newer guys that are in Prem because I think it's cool to kind of give it a new look because I feel like for as long as I've been in CSC, like Prem has been consistently like the same handful of names, the same handful of like people running the tier. And so I think it's kind of cool to see some of these guys like Moose and Am and even like Zim, like you said, doing good. Or I mean, just seeing some of these new faces that are doing good, and it's not just the same. Okay, yep. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are still the guys like Kando that are, Kando's on MVP form, like he always been every season that he's played, right? But it's cool to see some of these other guys, do good as well.
Yeah. I think the shocking thing to me, right, is like there's always been, and Q, you can attest to this, right? Like there's always been kind of a chatter among like GMs or just like people who have been in the league for a while that like top end of elite isn't able to hang with like Prem in a sense. I don't know if that's like the prevailing attitude nowadays, but I remember back when I joined in like season 12 or whatever, that was like absolutely the case, right? It's like you get a
Yeah.
couple of players at the very, very top, like Kando and Ween kind of just run the show, like Kami runs the show, like Shorty runs that show, right? And
Mhm.
now you look at like the top team at HG, like yes, obviously that team is insane, right? Like the synergy must be incredible, but like no player
Yeah.
on that team is above 1250 MMR, right? Like Slimy's the highest rated player. Slimy's good.
Yeah.
Slimy's really good, right? But like he's not a tier breaker, at least not in the traditional sense when you talk about Prem.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know Moose is doing really good for that team. I mean, Moose
Yeah.
is doing better than I mean, I know he did good subbing for them last season as like the elite force promote when he came up a couple times to fill for them. He did good, but like I genuinely was not expecting Moose to continue to be like a 1.2 plus player like he has been for them. And I think he's kind of the main like factor as to why they're doing as good as they're doing. And then obviously you have like Slime and you have a couple of the guys that return that are also just good CS players. I also feel like it's shifted a little bit, like this season specifically, where you could take some of the top elite players and still have them do fine in Prem. And I only say that because a lot of your guys like Ween, like Shorty 240, a lot of those guys aren't playing this season, or Trad or Sharp or I mean the list goes on and
Yeah.
on of like guys that aren't playing this season that are traditionally like towards the top or at least good teams. So I think that's also probably part of it on why you see guys like Am and Moose and whatnot doing good. I mean, like I don't even consider myself like doing good, but like even I'm at a 0.9. Well, like I was a 0.9 in elite. So like I'm still doing the same thing that I was doing in elite in Prem. It's just like I might have a higher peak and a lower floor at times just cuz like there are games where I'm playing against people that are significantly better. But I mean that's kind of how it goes, you know.
Yeah.
I think
Tim, let me.
Prem, like you had like the top end of Prem kind of cut with like some of like the like Ween like isn't here or some of those guys. Like
Yeah.
and so the floor with the floor like dropping for the MMR, it means like it's gonna be more I don't know brawly if that makes sense. Like all these elite guys coming in, they're gonna be, they might have been borderline Prem players, but now it's like all right, they have to be thrown on the team somewhere. So the guys that were that probably shouldn't have been Prem players that maybe would have been elite players now are still in Prem, and the guys that should have been Prem players that were stuck in elite now are definitely up here. And so it's like there was because there were some guys last season in elite that very easily could have played up here. I think Wu was a prime example. Like we didn't see it right away, but like that's a dude that can hang and has no issue hanging up here. That was obvious, or that is obvious now. But
Yeah.
it's like there's more guys that just it mixes like the it's hard to say because like you look at like UPS is like you guys are like three elite players in a trench coat, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
there's Kando,
And then there's Kando.
and then there's Kando. So it's like, well, what should you guys look like? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah. Um, I wonder if the team environment being because of the floor being lower, right? Like you don't have these like tier breakers so heavy. And Tim, like fill in the gaps for me here, man, because like like what was it like playing for DRG? That match day.
I mean, it was fun. I'm not gonna lie. They did tell me it was gonna be hard. I expected it to be hard, but I'm gonna be honest. I do a lot of 10 mins where they're just 9 level 10s, and I'm just that level that's nowhere near them. You know, so I maybe that helped in that game too. I don't know, but they all helped me out. Bango, Solstice, um, was it Tux or no, not Tux in that
Dale
game?
and
Dale
Dactor.
Cooper,
Yeah,
Dactor.
Dale and Doctor, they just helped me out and they gave me some really helpful tips too. So
Look, it might have gone overtime, but you still dropped 10 kills in Prem in one game. Like
I did, but I don't even think we would have even gone to overtime if it wasn't Doctor's 1v3 clutch. So
that was an insane clutch to watch.
Yeah, that was insane to watch.
Look,
Yeah.
we were loving it. As soon as we saw, hey, wait a minute, they're going like it was a close game. We like a bunch of us turned it on and it was like, oh, hey, look, Tim killed Kigo again. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I was just gonna ask, like, what specifically did like maybe your teammates tell you that was like so helpful, right?
just like be ready for this. Make sure you molly that. Just simple stuff.
Yeah. Just general like
I guess.
directions kind of deal, like
Yeah,
where to pay attention to and whatnot.
yeah, basically.
Yeah, I wonder. And obviously, like moving forward, like how much are you trying to incorporate some of the stuff that they like basically taught you in like that like a trial by fire kind of scenario? Like how much of it like have you been able to apply kind of to your own game now that you're signed to a team?
I've been like just being more aware of it and like trying to work it in to be like more helpful for the team, you know,
Mhm.
and just like small stuffs like that.
For sure. Well, probably did better than most of us subbing up. So congratulations on that. That was still like an incredible. Just, I mean, it was just funny, man. You know, it was just funny in a good way. Unless you play for
Yeah.
UPS, you know.
Yeah,
It
guys,
was
Um,
great
it
for
was
everyone
really
else.
funny, dude. It
yeah,
was
I
really
mean, it was
funny.
hilarious.
Yeah.
But okay, let's talk a little bit more about the rest of Prem. I've been glazing the absolute shit out of HG. Um, does anyone actually beat this team in the regular season? I think they play
They play
UPS one more
me.
time.
I'm beating them.
Yeah, okay. So they
Listen,
play.
listen.
I
Actually, never
Uh,
mind. I'll save it.
I
I'll save
think
it.
they're a
I'll save
beatable
it.
team. Like
yeah,
they're not perfect. Like uh, it's a lot of talk at this point, but like we should have beat them this week. We threw that game away. Like they're not invincible.
Yeah, that game was
But
super close, wasn't it? You guys
they are
won?
playing well. We lost 13-10. And like
Yeah.
we should have won that game. There was some things that we threw away that cost us the game. But that being said, they're still good. If you make mistakes, they're going to beat you.
Yeah,
So
they'll punish you.
they're no pushover. So it's entirely possible that they just win out. Playoffs, who knows? Because playoffs are very different. But it's what we got. How 2 match days left?
Yeah, 4 more
4
total
games?
games.
It's
Yeah.
entirely possible that one of them doesn't show up, or they have an off day. All right, cool. But either way, they're still a force to be reckoned with.
I guess my question is who's actually going to beat them, right? So let's ignore Kigu for a second. The rest of the schedule is DRG, AVI, Big Slime. I would imagine AVI probably would be the
That would
team
be a
to.
really good game.
Yeah.
AVI's got a good shout.
Um, and AVI did only lose by 2 in OT. The first time they met.
There you
Speaking
go.
of meetings, Superman, do you guys not play them anymore? I thought every team played each other twice.
I don't think everybody because
No, everybody plays each other once, and then you play the 3 other teams that are in your conference twice. So like we play Cow twice because they're like in
Oh,
our
okay.
Yeah.
conference.
But
Yeah.
who even remembers what conferences are at this point? Because they're
Yeah,
not everywhere.
They're
they're
not.
not
Yeah,
like actually known. It's just kind of you play them twice. Yeah, they're in your conference.
but it actually matters for playoff seeding, right?
It does.
It does.
That's
Yeah.
whack.
Yeah, because I think it was it last season that somebody got screwed out, or was it 2 seasons ago? I forget, but I remember there was like
I
there
can
was one
actually.
team that had a better record.
It was last season, and it was us actually at Big Slime because we had the I think
There
we
it
were
was.
like, I don't remember what it was. We had like 2 losses or something like that, and basically we put as the number 2 seed, even whenever the number 1 seed had like something like 3 or 4 losses at the time. Do you not
Yeah,
remember that,
that's
Starly?
no, I do now that you
Okay.
mention it.
Yeah.
But I just find it weird that like conferences aren't explicitly like outlined, basically, right? I was always under the impression that
So
Prem just played double, like a
that's
double
kind of
round
a
robin.
new thing that because we use the website so much that's a thing that no one remembers. Because like when we just used to use Google Sheets, it was clearly defined that
Yeah.
conferences existed and you had your record in conference. But we just use the just general league standings as opposed to conference standings now.
Do you think Prem could somehow survive an extra week of the regular season?
Survive.
I mean,
I
you
would
guys are
I
not
would make
happy
it.
about the. I haven't met like multiple. I haven't met like a majority of people who are happy about the Monday doubleheaders. That's all I'll say.
Look, if it were up to me, we'd play Monday, Wednesday doubleheaders. I love it. I think it's great. As much as I like playing 2 days a week, I don't miss having the scrim. Like it was kind of nice, but half the time people wouldn't show up anyway. Or there was like, I think it was it Galaxy way back that just notoriously just said we're not going to scrim. They just refused to scrim. Like there was a couple orgs that did it. It wasn't just them, but like they were like the first ones I think to do that way back there with CMK being the GM. But like the scrims are whatever. I like having the 2 matches. He's like you get to play more meaningful games. That's fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep the glaze train going. I'm gonna target someone else. I'm gonna target Curve because he's another elite call up. Kono, can you pull up Curve's profile for me real quick? He's on Gas Prem. and he's casually dropping a 129. Only 2 games so far, I believe, but still, like, what the hell? Like, I think tied in rating with Kando right now. So, like, if is he even eligible for MVP because he
No.
came in so late?
I think so. If he plays
Well,
the rest of the season, isn't he?
if he plays all 4 matches, then probably. I forget what there's a
I
percentage.
think it's 6. I think he'd have to play 6 of the 10 matches.
Yeah. So if he
Okay.
plays all 4 and he maintains that, yeah, he'd probably be eligible.
Okay, because I don't think anyone else is remotely close. I might be hating really hard right now, but I don't think anyone else is remotely close to Kando.
It's him. They're tied.
Yeah, right. Like he's the only person, but he has to make sure like he actually gets enough matches to qualify.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
Am's
just
a
Yeah.
1.26 and Moose is
okay.
2
Yeah.
123.
Okay,
So they're the top 4 are somewhat close,
but
but Kando's only played 4 matches too, so it's hard to say.
Listen, man, Kando gets 13-0'd one more time. That rating might tank a little bit. You know, I'm just saying. I mean,
yeah, what was that all about, by the way, against ADI?
You're contributing to Kando getting 13-0'd. What are you talking
dude,
about?
it was just a rough game, man. It was one of those games that I think we've already learned too. We're not first game Andes, bro. Like best of threes are gonna be rough because I think we're gonna start one game down, like no matter what. Because like game ones are just tough. I think part of it is because like you said, 3 of us are elite players, and so we're so used to having that scrim to warm up that like Sway, me, and Kier just keep hopping on for match time. No warm up, just just hopping on and just free balling it, and it is not working. So
Yep. That'll
we're gonna
do
have
it.
to start actually like warming up, you know, aim training. Sway needs to wake up
That's a
sooner
crazy
than
thing to
3
admit
minutes
on the
before.
podcast, honestly. That was like, yeah, we don't even show up for the first match. Like, ooh, all right,
Dude,
cool.
I mean that last game, Sway literally woke up 3 minutes before. I was spam calling him because I'm like, dog, you need to get up. We have a game in 3 minutes, and he joined the VC as the bands were starting.
My goodness.
So
Well, most committed Premier player, unfortunately. um, but yeah, I mean, Curve is just on a heater, and like it's just Curve played well in Elite, right? But he wasn't even close to like a 126 level, and now he's playing against like better competition, and he's still like just dog walking everyone. I'm just looking at like the rest of his stats, right? Like, how is he averaging? Obviously, just 2 games, right? But like even across 2 games, he has 350 utility damage on top of all of like the kills he's been able to get just with a rifle as a stand-in. Like, it, obviously, if he keeps playing at this rate, like Gas is going to end up in the playoffs somehow. But like, is this sustainable?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Like
Um,
he came in on a heater. We'll see. Like there's some guys that we know can, but look, you go up against one team that like has your number, and that's it. He had a .56 T rating on Anubis and still has a 129.
Yeah.
That's
Like, it doesn't make
insane. That's the
it,
insane part.
yeah, doesn't it like kind of not make sense?
Everything else, like, oh, he had all these numbers make. I'm like,
1.5 CT. Holy.
he had a 173 T rating on Inferno.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah, I
pretty
mean, I don't know.
mental.
It could be just a mixture of him coming in hot and just like it's a really good opening game and like what maybe it's not sustainable. I think he'll still do fine. I don't think he'll be like that every game, but I think he could still be like a 1.1. You know what I mean? Like still good.
Yeah.
I just don't know if he'll be able to do like a 1.3 almost throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah. Well, I guess we already kind of talked about Kando a little bit, but it's like, is this MVP is Kando's to lose, or do you guys think like Am or Moose have like a chance to kind of overthrow him?
As Kando's teammate and somebody that's played with him a little bit now, I think it's his to lose, or I should say, not even his. I should say it's his team's to lose if we continue to keep getting rolled. But like, I think the reason I say it's his because I feel like once you've kind of cemented like what it's at, right? Because like he's already got a handful of games, so it's kind of like it's there now. I feel like it's so much easier to go down than it is to go up. You know what I mean? Like for Am to keep going up in rating than it is for it's way easier for him to keep going down. So I could see Am just staying right at that 125, but Kando could all of a sudden have a couple of bad games over these next 4 and just, you know, even if it's not horrible games, but just drop that little bit more. So I feel like it's definitely Kando's to lose, but in part of that, I mean, it goes with your team. At the end of the day, CS is a team sport. So it's like, if we're getting just steamrolled, if me, Kieran, and Sway can't do anything across the rest of the map, and it's up to Kando and Fortune versus the world, there's not really much, you know, Kando can do if we're just losing space across the entire map. In terms of at least going like super positive, right? Like even in the 13-0, I think he still had like a 101 or a 105 or something, but like that's only going to get you so far.
Yeah.
The thing is too, like Kando, we know what Kando's capable of. Like we
Yeah.
know he can maintain this. It's not like one guy showed up, played 2 match days, or I guess 2 matches now, and just tore it up. It's like, oh yeah, wow, he had a great
This guy's
2
MVP.
maps. Yeah, it's like, oh, he had a great 2 maps. Oh, then he just doesn't play for 2 weeks, comes back, actually gets on a team, and then he looks, mediocre. It's like, oh, okay, so he had a great day because he was, trying to get on a team, and now he's here. Okay, we know what he
Yeah.
is. But Kando, look, he's multiple MVP winner, right? Like the dude, and he puts up the numbers every season. We know what he can do.
So you're saying that even if like UPS loses matches, you don't think Kendo still could get MVP?
I think he
Kigo?
definitely could. I think he definitely still could. I just think it comes down to like the degree that we're losing, right?
If
Because
they
like,
get if they get steamrolled 13-0, the next 4 matches, Kando doesn't get it because
yeah,
unless he's put like in every single one comes down to a 1v1 because he got all 4 kills or something.
yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
that's the only way that it would be possible in
Because
that scenario.
I'm curious what his rating was in that game we lost. Because I think even in that game that we did get 13-0'd, I'm pretty sure he still had like a really good, like not really good, but I mean for
He
getting
had a
13-0'd, it was a good rate.
He had a .09 across the map. No, 0.9, sorry. Not a
Yeah, a
0.09. That's
0.9.
0.9.
Yeah, which like, I mean, I think even at a 0.9, like I'm pretty sure he was our best rated player. But like that's what's gonna happen when you get stomped like that. So it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of the games we can play really close. I think another big thing that I was gonna say for like the prediction side of it, but like part of it too is like we've only played 2 games with our full 5. 4 of our games we've been 2 of them we were missing Kando. Like when we lost to DRG, we were missing Kando, who like I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, at the end of the day, DRG had a prospect player on paper. We should still win it all day. But like it just goes to show like how important Kando is to this team in terms of like being that superstar carry. I mean, it's like Superman said too, jokingly. It's like it's 3 elite players in a trench coat standing on top of each other, and you got Kando that's still taller than all 3 of them. Because like I mean, that's what the team is. It's me, Sway, and Kier that are all force promote. Well, not force promotes, but like tier mins from elite. I'm a force promote just to IGL for the team, and then it's literally just Non and Kando. Like those are the 2 guys that need to be up here for us to win, which is fine. It's just when you're missing, like the game we got 13-0, we were missing Fortune, who's our opper. He's our second best player on the team, and like to go to Mirage with no opper, probably a little troll. We probably shouldn't have done that. Also, we got Zlep to sub. I love Zlep. Tim, my dear best friend, he dropped a 0.4 rating and got steamrolled on A Mirage every round. It happens, whatever.
Yeah, it happens.
I love him. We got steamrolled. He's been out the game a little while. He won that trophy with HG last season, and he dipped. He hasn't been playing CS since, apparently. He's been playing Deadlock only.
I don't blame him.
My goat fell off. But, like, so that's why I still think Kando can easily win MVP. I think a lot of it's going to come down to, again, typical Prem problem. All 5 players showing up to match days, not missing, and more importantly, Kando and Fortune being there, you know what I mean? Because those are the 2 like guys on the team. If Kier misses a game, if Sway misses a game, okay, whatever. We go get another tier min that can fill in and get that 0.9 to a 1 rating like we need. Same, even if I miss, same shit. Just get another player that can drop that 0.9 to 1 rating, and those 2 just need to be there to frag out. So.
Yeah, well, good luck dealing with that in Prem. Bango did ping me, or not ping me, but like he was in the
Uh-oh.
chat. I don't know if you guys saw it. EFAs are getting converted to FAs, so I don't know if that'll help Prem. I feel like it should.
Does anyone need? Is there a roster that is in desperate need of a player?
I have no clue.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see who would even like make a move, because like
The only
mean,
one
I
I
don't-
know was what Staircase dropped out from OS,
yeah, with
but
OS.
that would be like
I
the
mean-
only one I can even think of right now.
I mean, that's why Solstice kind of like reached out to me. Like he was joking around, like saying how bad the FA pool is in Prim. That like I may even pull you. And then that day came where he messaged me, and I was like, I forget about it. I'll do it. It's just I'm just gonna treat it like a 10-man, but take it more serious. But
Yeah, and it went. I mean, it went good.
Yeah, it did. I had fun. So
All right.
There are guys out there too, like what Rue, who are just kind of in elo hell of like they're like
Yeah.
they're too expensive to justify.
Yeah, I mean, and
Yeah.
that was part of the struggle this season with like putting together a roster of like, I mean, even like I mean, the biggest thing in the off season was like us at UPS not re-signing Comrade. I know a lot of people were kind of shocked about that, and it was like a kind of a crazy thing because it's always been UPS Comrade. And that was one thing where like we looked at the numbers because they changed like the tier gap, like how much you could have. They changed the like just MMR for everybody in general. And when like I'm looking at the numbers and it's like, okay, well if we want to put anybody around these said people or these people or these people and like just running different combinations of people, it's like, dude, I put Kando on the team at 1500 and it's like we need 3 like tier min elite players and then you can have one like 1000 MMR player or something stupid is what we have right now. It's literally 3 tier mins, Kando, and then I think Fortune's around like 1100 roughly. So like there's also not a lot of room to work with. Like I saw like Tycho, I think was one of the guys that got transferred to an FA. And like he's good. He subbed for us last season 2 games. I think he had like a 105 in both games for UPS. And like that's somebody that I would recommend and I would plus rep to sign. But like he's like 1370 something. So it's like, well, who has the room to sign that type of a player at this point, you know?
Yeah. I think DRG has cap room to play with, so like that might be the one team that will
Yeah, like a
maybe make
DRG.
changes. I don't know because Staircase was actually kind of cheap, like MMR wise.
Mm-hmm.
So OS is
I
gonna
guess
need
I
to
was
make.
more look at it like just out after the season started, like who needed needed to make a change or had somebody drop out,
Uh-huh.
and the only one that was the only one that I knew for sure.
Yeah.
Like maybe there's somebody else, but that was the only situation I even heard of.
Yeah. It's just hard to say, but yeah, I know multiple tiers. Like Elite this season was really bad with the tier line.
Mhm.
I think it was at least like a 70 or 80 point drop, and I mean, even in the context of Premier, like 70 or 80 points goes a long way.
Mhm.
And I think
Yeah.
it kind of had like ripple effects down to, or like up to Premier, right? Because you have a lot of these guys who are high MMR or like low MMR Premier, but like too high for Elite, right? And they're just kind of stuck in like Elo hell, or
Yeah.
MMR hell to be more precise. Um, it is what it is. We'll see what the conversions, change anything. I know.
I think this season it's not that bad. I've definitely played in seasons
No.
where the MMR has been atrocious to deal with,
Yes.
and it's like okay, you like not even you don't even have a tier max, and you still need to get like 2 tier mins to justify having someone in like the top quarter or not quarter but third of MMR, and it's like what the heck is going on here? But that was a while ago. It's a lot better now. You got room to work with, but like having one tier max is kind of like a guy like Rue is basically a tier max. He would be one of the best players in the tier, but because I know for us, we already had a plan of what we wanted to do. Otherwise, like I saw Rue out there, like he'd be fun to work with. I played with Rue for a bit. He's a good guy, good player, good guy. But if I already had a plan and I already made commitments, so I stuck with them. Otherwise, shoot, who knows?
Yeah. Um, it always kind of sucks when you're too expensive for a tier as a whole or just for certain teams. Um, let's talk a little bit about the last team in playoffs. I didn't realize the conference system was still in effect, so this prediction might look really, really stupid down the line. Um, but 6 teams in Prem make playoffs. Who I guess out of both conferences, right? I don't. Can we even see the conferences? You can see them on the schedule, right?
I think it's on the schedule in on the dock wherever that is.
Yeah. So I guess I don't know, Kono. Can you stream the schedule? Maybe is that possible at all? Because there's a big gray line down the middle separating DRG, HGBS,
Yeah.
AVI. Yeah,
So like
versus
there's UPS, Gas, OS, and Cal are all
yeah.
together in one,
So
and
I
the other
guess we
one's
could probably
AVI,
just name the
BS,
last team in from
HG.
both of those conferences.
You said
Uh,
Yeah.
UPS, Gas, OS, Cow.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty obvious, like the
That's
2 teams, right, from both conferences that like are going to be fighting for the last spot in, right? So if we start on the left one, I guess it's like DRG, BS, right? Like who would you expect to get that last playoff spot
well. I
between those
mean,
two?
I think it's kind of like last. It's I think last season was the same thing. There was like one side that was like really strong, and the other side like was still strong, but like I mean the left side's got HG who's currently number 1, AVI who's number 2, and BS who I think's tied for 3rd or tied for 4th, something like that.
Yeah.
So like, and then you have DRG who's like, I don't think DRG's horrible. I mean DRG beat me, but like they're still below all 3 of those teams. You know what I mean? Between all power rankings, between actual standings. So like if we're gonna pick someone on the left side, I'd pick DRG.
I'm probably gonna pick DRG. Maybe I gave him that little, push, a little
That's
hype them up with that win.
Dude, for them to go on a run, man.
Heck
That's what
yeah.
they needed. A leader to inspire the troops. I don't know, Superman. I'm biased. Who you got it coming out of the left side?
It's a tough one because like if I know for us, if we can get our act together, like I think we can take it easily. But that means we need to get our act together, be disciplined, and go in and probably win out. Maybe not win out entirely, but that would be the easiest way.
Yeah, you just need to keep
But it would be
dirt
like
long
it'd be between us and Gas.
Yeah.
Like,
and you guys do play each other on the very last match.
We do.
Yeah.
So, like that probably could end up being the decider. But it'd be to me it's a coin flip between us.
Is it one from each side, from each conference that doesn't make it?
Yes.
So
right?
yeah.
So DRG is the bottom of their conference. We are the bottom of our conference. That's why we're the top, and we're the bottom in standings anyway. So
yeah. That's crazy to me. So like technically, right? So you're telling me that DRG could technically finish like let's say way better than we'll take Gas for example, who's towards one of the bottom on our side, but if they're still lower than BS, HG, and AVI, they wouldn't make it, and OET or like Gas would make it just because they're on different conferences.
So you would need Big Slime to be better than DRG, but then for DRG to be better than say Cow, but then worse than Big Slime, and then DRG would still be out.
What are you saying? So DRG could be worse than HG, BS, AVI, but they're better than however.
They could be better than Gas, OS, and Cow, for example, in the other side, but they wouldn't make it just because the other 3, like their brackets, their conference is stacked, basically.
That is correct. Yeah,
that is correct. And in fact, some team, like the more concerning thing is like if AVI is second overall in the entire tier, but like Big Slime or DRG is going to get thrown into that meat grinder anyway, and AVI will not have a first round bye, right? Like HG will enjoy.
Oh yeah, because of because of how stacked it is. Yeah.
Yeah, because of how that conference works.
Yeah.
Like,
holy wow. Yeah, because that's literally that's what Kono was talking about, right? That's what happened last season with Big Slime.
Yes.
Is because of this conference thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what tier that was in, but I think we had a similar situation in Prem a couple seasons ago, I think, but I think it ended up working out. But it's still like everyone forgets about it until the last 2 weeks.
Until it matters.
Until the last 2 weeks of the season. That's when it actually matters, and people actually like, oh wait, we're not in the playoffs. That's when it usually happens.
Yeah. Well.
So yeah, it's just one side. Okay.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious, Superman. Why do we have conferences in the first place?
Great question.
All right, let's move on.
I genuinely don't know.
I've
been here longer than probably anyone in this call. I have no clue. I don't know.
All right.
I mean, the only thing I could think of is just to decide like who you're gonna play twice, since they don't play
I think that's the only reason. As far as I can tell.
I would rather just have them make it, like Starley was saying earlier. What is it? 1 week longer, play everybody twice, and call it good. Like
especially for Prem, like we just need one more match day, and we usually finish earlier than anyone else anyway.
Yeah, so it still like works out, and it's not like we're running way later or anything crazy.
Yeah, I think the only problem for this season specifically is that the last match day for Prem currently is scheduled for November 18th, and so if you were to add one more match day, it would spill over onto.
Well, we started a week later than everyone else
because of the double preseason thing, right?
We had. This is the first time we had 2 preseason days.
Yeah.
And so our first week was was everyone else's second week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we just added on the front.
Is it really that impossible to squeeze both preseason games into the same week? Or sorry, hang on. Is it impossible to fit 2 preseason match days in the same week?
Like if we were to do like a Monday, Wednesday?
Yeah,
saying?
or some kind of split. I feel like it should be that hard,
I
right?
think
'Cause
it's
they
just
matter.
because we don't want to change the schedule at all.
Yeah, it's because like you advertise it like, well, you advertise the league as a Tuesday, Thursday, and then Prem is like a Monday, and then now you're like, but actually for preseason it's Monday, Wednesday, and you know what I
It
mean?
just
And it's kind of like,
it's another layer of unnecessary confusion.
Oh,
Yeah.
isn't it like that for ESCA or whatever?
ESEA, so open is Monday, Wednesdays. Open and advanced are Monday, Wednesdays, and then IM and main are Tuesday, Thursdays. So
Yeah.
that's why we moved it to Mondays, Prem to Mondays, is because we had a lot of IM and main players, and that was
Mm.
like half of the draw. Was if we wanted to retain those guys, we needed to change to Mondays, or we
Yeah.
could. I think we could do Monday, Wednesdays, but I know a lot of those guys probably wouldn't even do that. I don't play ASCA right now. I don't have time outside of this, but Monday, Wednesday would be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's see what they discuss this offseason, because I know there's a lot of in talks this specific offseason to change quite a bit of stuff around CSC.
There'll probably be another vote on what we do, and we'll still vote Monday doubleheaders, and the admins will say, "Nah, you know what? We're gonna revoke that anyway," like they did the first 2 times we voted for Monday doubleheaders.
Well, I cannot speak. Let's go to Prince. Let's go to
That's
predictions,
big
yeah?
problem. Yeah.
3 games for Premier, and all of them. Well, I mean, okay, this is like the dumbest thing I always say. Right? Like these games really matter, right? But like, you know, um, this is like when shit really starts to go down. So to no one's shock, I tried to see if Kigu could think that he could be HG. Obviously, nobody shares that sentiment, which is good. That was a sanity check game, so to speak. But there is a
Yep.
little bit of disagreement down the line. So, Kigu, let's circle back to you, so that way your rambling can be the sign off. Yeah, and let's
Yeah,
talk
that's fine.
about
That's fine.
Big Slime Gas first. All of us except Superman going Big Slime. Superman, what's the secret for Gas to win this game?
I just like the run of form that they're in. I think was mostly what it was. Let me double check. I want to see what their matches are before I get too far down the line.
Yeah, I know they're on a 2-game win streak.
13-6 DRG and then 13-10 AVI. Like once I saw the AVI win, I'm like, okay, they might be on to something here. Like I know like what let me double check the roster before I lose my mind. Landon, Intact, Turtles, Brew, and Curve. Like that's a decent lineup. Like Landon is pretty good. Brew, I mean, I played with Brew the last 2 seasons. He finally got his monitor fixed, so now he's able to kill things again. My goodness. And you got Curve, so if he can maintain not even a 1.6 form, but let's say he maintains a, you know, hat or 2/3 of that, like he'll be fine. Like that's still putting up good enough numbers to
Yeah.
beat most teams. And so BS, I don't have particularly strong feelings that they're a great team. Like they're not. I don't like it. If it was HG, I'd say that would be a good matchup to watch. BS, like I mean, I don't have anything against BS. I just don't see them as like super standouts in that regard.
Yeah. I think I have insider knowledge on Big Slime, obviously, as their AGM, but I know there's been role conflict on this team to a pretty severe extent, and I think the changes that have been made, and also Kiri has personally been talking to us a ton about just like changing the way he calls, and then also just the way he inserts himself into those calls. Obviously, I'm a paid shill, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
but Kigo, I'm kind of shocked you picked Big Slime
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
after
I
shitting
don't.
on us.
Well, I mean, yeah, we stomped y'all, but like, we went to the green map. You know how it goes.
The best
I
map.
mean,
no,
in
I
the
don't
game.
know.
What do you
that
mean?
only applies to me.
Yeah, sorry, that's only a me and you thing. My fault. My fault. I don't know. I don't think BS is necessary. I've been waiting, and maybe it's too far gone, right?
Mhm.
But I've been waiting and thinking Kiri's gonna return to form. Because Kiri was one of the best players on the HG team last season that won. Like him, Slimy, and Zlep were like the 3 like carries of that team. And I keep sitting here going, Kiri's gonna get back to that like 1.1, 105, like, but like consistently week after week, it's 0.9. You know what I mean? Like just still hovering around that 0.9 rating. So I'm thinking that this week is like a get right week for Kiri. Kiri's gonna bounce back. Ernesto's been doing really well for you guys too. I was kind of shocked by that.
Yes.
Kiri had a bad gaming chair. He changed out his gaming chair, so he should be
Uh-oh.
back this week.
Does that
Yeah,
stop him from baiting?
No,
Okay.
absolutely not.
No
so
comment.
he's still losing. I say that
Yeah.
he still beat me in finals.
But yeah, I don't
By
know.
baiting
I
his
mean,
team.
it
By
could go
baiting his
either
team.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just
I
kind
think
of
a
hard
lot
to
of it
know.
honestly comes down to curve. Like if I'm gonna be completely
Yeah.
honest here, I think the X factor is curve. Like what he does. If he continues stomping, then okay, yeah, I would easily change my prediction. Like if you were gonna tell me right now that curve was gonna drop a guaranteed like 115 rating, it's not even like what he did in the first 2 games, but a guaranteed like 115, I'd probably switch to gas. But I don't know if he will. You know what I mean? He could go back to like a 105 or a 1 or whatever he normally is gonna get kind of deal. So I think it's just super like coin flippy in that regard.
That's fair. Okay. Well, let's talk last matchup. I'm actually kind of shocked, Superman. Obviously, I know Tim, you're gonna rep your boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I respect the hell out of it, but I'm kind of shocked, Superman. You went DRG over OS.
I think DRG, just from the fact that they're a continuous 5.
Mhm.
Like if OS had staircase, I would be going OS all the way because
Yeah.
they looked really good with stair, but they looked really poor after that.
Yes, they've lost
Like-
3 straight.
Like staircase was a critical part of their team, and without him, they don't look the same. Like Scott is very much capable of like carrying this team.
Mhm.
He just had a bad season. If he can pick it up, sure, he'll be back up there, and it'll be at least a competitive game. But I don't know. They just last week they didn't look good, and unless they made some change or maybe somebody had an off day, I don't know. I'm not over there in that camp. But unless something changes, I don't think they're beating DRG. And DRG, like DRG can beat people. They just haven't been efficient about it. Like they've got the guys to be able to shoot back.
Yeah, who has DRG beat this season? They beat UPS.
Well, they beat us.
Okay, yeah, and the most recent one they beat. Yeah, I
Another
feel
game
like
that
this.
we threw. But
Yeah, I feel like this is the get right game for OS, so to speak. Like if they don't win this one, the spiral down the toilet is going to be pretty brutal, right?
who is it that they added to replace Stare? I don't even
Apathy.
remember. Apathy? Okay.
Yeah, I think right because everyone
Yeah.
else has been there
Yeah,
for
it was
a while.
apathy.
Yeah, so just like from a straight chemistry standpoint, obviously Apathy is probably nowhere close to Stare, in terms of that replacement. But you would hope that like the mechanics are enough to kind of 1-for-1 on that front. But yeah, I mean I have this marked up as like the OS get right game. Like if OS wins this one, then like we can turn the panic switch off, so to speak.
Yeah.
But if this one goes bad, I mean, they might lose out kind of bad, you know. I don't know. Tim, you want to gas up Bango some more? He's been cheering for you the entire time in Twitch chat.
I see it. I'm looking at it at the corner of my eye.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, I think for the BS and gas though, I forgot that they did pick up curve. So yeah, definitely maybe gas actually has a little edge on that matchup.
Yeah. And I think like it's just kind of hard to predict Prem more so than any other tier because the nature of double headers is just so like fascinating to me, so to speak, right? There's always been a ton of talk for the other tiers, like the lower tiers especially, to play best of 2 match days because prior to the tiebreak rule change, right? We were using strength of schedule, which let's face it is a
Mhm.
dog shit way to tiebreak. And now at least
Yeah.
we're doing round win percentage, and I think you can also apply head to head now if it's not equal, like match, like the number of matches.
Yeah.
That part I'm not sure about. Did they change that key?
I I think so, but I'm not sure either.
Okay. I know for sure round win percentage is better than strength of schedule, but there's always been talk about like swapping to best of 2s, but a lot of people have always pushed back on it because they don't like the lack of scrim, right? And also because they're like people are worried that like the first game goes on too long. But I feel like all of those factors make it more
It hasn't really been that big of a problem.
That's what I was going to say, right?
Like,
We
yes,
look at
there are definitely days where, like, if we have tech problems like across the board, yeah,
yeah,
okay, that is an issue. But for the most part, like, I think the latest that I've seen a game start on like a normal day was like maybe 15 minutes after the second match start time,
yeah.
which, I mean, if you, to be fair, if you finish your first match super fast, yeah, you're waiting for a while, and it kind of sucks just to be sitting there just doing whatever. But I don't think it's that bad. I personally enjoy having the double headers just because it's like like on a normal match day before, it was like, okay, you had like, maybe you had your scrim, maybe you felt good, maybe you didn't, whatever. But then the actual match happens, and then you're just left with that. Like, okay, I played one map, and
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
there's nothing. But you played two maps at least. It's like, okay, well, map one felt great, map two didn't. You know, if it was a best of three, maybe different story.
I'm just curious between Key and Tim, right? Like, do you guys think the scrim is that important?
Screaming?
Yeah. Like, you know how like CSC provides the pre-match scrim, you know?
Yeah. I feel like it can help, it wakes you up a little bit. Like, yeah, you do your warm up, but then like screaming for a match with your guys before a match day, I feel like it does like hype you up, gets you motivated, gets you where you need to go, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're really nice. I mean, in the higher tiers, they're probably not necessary, right? Like a lot of the elite teams don't scrim as it is. Whether it's because they're an IM and they don't make it, like I know the UPS elite team, they don't scrim because Clumsy's on our IM team. Like Prem, I don't really think it's necessary. I think in the lower tiers, it's really nice because I think a lot of the lower tiers actually take like full advantage of it. And like, I mean, the lower tiers are always historically been like more try hard, in terms of like the team chemistry side or the team side of things, right? Where like elite Prem, it's
Or
usually
just util.
yeah, like just show up, shoot is what like the higher tiers are usually thinking, right? Where like a lot of times those lower tiers they like doing more of that like, all right, let's actually practice like a team, play together like a team, and like do team based stuff. You know what I mean? Have some strats, whatever it be, right, that they want to do. And I think that's super cool. I mean, I think that's the whole point of CSC is like casually competitive like CS. Like that's what they always preach.
I think that's
So I
just
think the
always
scrims help.
it's always been the case. Like, I've been here. My first season was the first season of Elite, so it was minor, major, Elite was my
Mm-hmm.
first season. And the lower tiers, even then, were still like, the more they took things more seriously. They cared more about util, cared more about set plays and team chemistry. Whereas the top tier has always been show up and pug with
Yeah.
like some structure. And then you have some exceptions, like you had Comrade having an actual system, whether how much, depending on season to season, how much time they put in as a team for it. But there
Yeah.
was still a system, there was a structure, there's always been a
There was a
couple of,
leading voice there. Like there was somebody there
yeah,
that no matter who was around him, it was him and DP, and whoever else was falling into what they were running. Yeah.
right. But like, there's only ever a few like actual IGLs in CSC as a whole, but especially at the top tier, you see a lot more. At least at the lower levels, you see a lot more people actually like trying to be an IGL and make something happen, or at least identifying as one. Whereas in Prem, it's kind of, some teams have an IGL, some teams just have a dude that's saying things. Like our last two seasons, it was just it kind of fell down to me just calling generally. Not that I
Yeah.
had an actual system or anything. It was just like, all right, look, this is what I see. Let's try to do this.
Yeah.
And it, to some degree, it worked. Like, we got to the finals 2 seasons in a row. But ultimately, like, it's better to have an actual system in place.
Yeah, that's fair. I was just curious because I know every season we beat the best of two horse to death. And there's always a ton of arguments against it. I can see where they're coming from. Um, I just think it would be really interesting, right? Because I was like, when I talk to teams about like playoff buys or whatever, like everyone's terrified of those, and I wonder if the hesitancy would be a little less with best of twos because you have like more best of three experience, so you don't feel like you need to ramp up in playoffs, so to speak. If you had best of twos coming in, but people really do like coming in with momentum.
Yeah.
I think playoff buys is almost a separate issue because like it depends on like the game.
Uh-huh.
Like you look at like uh American sports, you look at like basketball, football, baseball,
Yeah.
like all three of them take it very differently. Like football, you want the bye. You need it just so you can rest. Basketball, they don't have them, but you would probably take a bye, but you don't want to take like what the first round of the playoffs would be like a week and a half long. So you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
At baseball, you take 3 days off, and that's a problem. You need to be playing at most 1-2 days off. So in nowadays in the MLB playoffs, that first round bye is almost a disadvantage, and statistically, it is a disadvantage.
Yeah,
So
because
it depends on the game.
momentum plays a whole lot. Even like I used to watch a lot of Rocket League, Pro Rocket League, and like if you're on that momentum, just on winning fast, it builds momentum builds really fast. Getting those wins in, getting those rounds in, like going back to CS,
Like,
like even looking at that Navi game with who they play, who did they
Rio.
play?
I'm
And
trying to remember Rio right now.
oh, they were like down like what was it, 3-11, and they came back on Ancient.
oh yeah, I
Crazy,
remember I was watching that.
crazy
I don't
back,
remember who they played, but yeah.
crazy
That was
comeback.
the VP game.
Mouse, that was Mouse, that was
Oh, it's
Mouse.
Mouse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
No.
Okay. Yeah.
crazy.
I guess it is
Yeah.
kind of funny when you look at Rio that both teams who qualified directly into the semifinals got rinsed immediately. Navi lost, or sorry, Heroic lost to Navi, and then obviously, I mean, Furia fluked their way in, but like, still, they had a quote unquote bye right into the semifinals, and then they just got ass wiped anyway. But I mean, Furia shouldn't have made it that far in the first place.
There's something to be said about just playing, like
Yes.
whatever game it is, like just being in it, like staying locked in,
Yeah.
right? Like even with some of these games, like that's part of the reason why people don't want to like sit and wait for a second match. If we
Yeah.
finish our match quick and we're sitting around, oh, okay, well, we've got 20 minutes. Oh, I'm going to go, grab some food. I'm going to go do this. Some people might, go into a DM just to try to stay in the loop, but people don't know how to regulate the time off. And that's up to the individual. Some people can just go and chill. Some people need to stay. But
Yeah. I'm just kind of shocked that that's the case because from my mind, right, I feel like the best way to win like this specific competition, right, is to just play as few best of threes as possible, which is what like a bye is supposed to give you, right? But basically everyone I've talked to said, yeah, screw that. Like we'd rather take our chances in that first round and then just like carry on and bulldoze your way through.
it's the theory, right? It's
Yes.
up to the players. Like some people need to play meaningful matches all the time. Scrims won't mean anything, and you'll get tired of it and just whatever. But it's when the matches count that that's when they're here. That's when they're awake. So that's why you'll even see it like regular season, the playoffs with some teams. It's like the teams that tend to go deep in playoffs, like are usually the teams that don't care as much about the regular season because they can turn it on in playoffs and then they just go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna taint the weekly drop real quick because Kiku, have you been watching Worlds at all?
Get them
Or
out.
A little bit.
We're
A
done.
little bit.
Nope.
yeah,
Cut the stream.
cut the
Oh,
stream. But
We
I
can't
was just
talk.
curious. I was just curious because LNG got a very fluky 3-0 right in Swiss. I don't know if
Mhm.
you watched their games against Weibo, but they were terrible on the meta read.
No, but they got stomped, didn't they?
Yeah,
I seen a couple like the highlights.
yeah, and if you looked at all the drafts, like none of them made sense.
Yeah, I didn't
I'll
look
nerd
at the
over it with you
draft.
later, but like it just some of the shit they pulled off there was criminal, and I wonder if it's because they in league specifically they gave him a 2-week break, which is way too
Yeah,
long.
which is a long break
That's
in
a
my opinion.
long
Yeah.
break. But
Yeah.
all right, enough ruining the weekly drop. Uh, thanks so much, guys, for coming on. Good luck in Prem this week. I know you guys are playing on Monday, so.
UPS is taking down HG. We will stop the Golden
Oh
Road.
yeah, that's right. I was gonna the Golden Road, bro. How are you gonna do it?
My first step, Kendo. You're gonna be right here, Kendo. You're gonna show up. You're gonna kill that guy, Moose, right there. Kill him. Fortune, you're also gonna show up. Fortune, I'm gonna drop you an op, and you're gonna drop me an MP9. Fortune, you're gonna go here, and you're gonna shoot their second top frag. Bang, we win. Kier go kill. You know, it's all gonna work out, okay? Listen, we're finally gonna have all 5 of us, and I will take down Moose. That guy is a fraud, okay? I said it.
I can't wait for Kigo to drop like 5 kills and lose the game by 2
Yeah.
rounds because Kigo couldn't show up.
I'm
I
not saying
looked-
it won't happen. I'm just saying I think we win. I think we win, but I might drop 5 kills and still win. I'm just saying. I did that on the one Anubis game we played. I dropped like
Kiku's
6 kills.
Kiku's very good at staying in the single digits and his team dragging him to a win. So don't be shocked if that happens,
Yeah.
Superman.
Kigo's
It
Hey,
happened
very
multiple
good
listen,
about
times
being the
last season.
backpack.
Yeah.
Yo, I dropped a 1.4 on BS. All right, pal. You better watch yourself, Starly. Okay, I'm done playing.
There's a reason
I'm
why I
back.
ran from you, okay? I got placed in Prem and I sprinted away from the grind. But yeah.
Did you say the grind in Prem? What are
Yeah.
you talking about?
Well,
A Prem here.
more
Just
so
the
just
game
the
in
challenge.
general.
Prem.
Well, yeah,
Just
just
the
the game
game.
in general, just the challenge of it mostly.
Alright, that's fair.
I talked about it with the elite guys, but I have a disaster class of a map pool, at least with the current one right now.
Okay, so
Actually-
you play Mirage. That's about
Yeah.
it.
I can't play Mirage, I can't play Inferno, and I can't play Dust 2. So stinky pinky.
He just can't play. The
Oh,
game.
so you're just bad at the game.
I'm really bad at the game. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, the problem was, I was trying to learn Overpass, right? And then I was like watching pro VODs. I was like watching all of the old like phase VODs from like 2020, and I was like, oh, here we go, like finally an understanding on the map. And then it got out of the pool, and then they put in like a literal pug shit map in Dust 2. I was like, I'm not studying this map. Fuck this. And I was like, oh, then if I can't even play like Inferno, I refuse to play it. It's like it gets my religion, and then I don't want to play Dust 2. Like I was ready to learn Mirage kind of, but no, it's not worth it.
Do you say you're
Ugh.
ready to learn Mirage and just said no? You know, the most commonly played map in the game. It
That's
doesn't
why I said
matter
I
where
gave
you
up.
go.
I ran from the grind.
Yeah, he's bad at the game.
I mean,
I
a
am-
map that is cracked by everybody. Everybody knows.
Yeah,
how to
you
play
say
it.
that, but I look like a fish out of water on that map. I don't know how you guys figure it out, especially
Just
on
go play
T-side.
B.
What's up?
Just go play B.
I have
You-
okay. I
all
understand.
you need to
CT
do
to
is
T-side.
throw how to learn like 2 nades and you're done.
Yeah, I don't know. That's 2 nades too many, man. That's too hard
My
for me.
goodness.
Sorry. All right.
My goodness.
Enough ragging on me, bro. There's a reason why I'm not playing. That's all I'm gonna say. Thanks, guys, for coming on.
Thank you for having
Thanks,
us.
Thank you for having
thanks
me.
for the invite.
Yes, of course.
Maybe next time you can get 3 premier players. Tim, thank you for being here. Maybe we can get another premier player with us next time. Kigu, I don't know what this dude's doing here, but you know,
I'll
it'd
get
be nice.
Kando next time. I'll get an actual adult. I'm
An
sorry,
actual
Superman.
yeah. Thank you
Yeah,
so
I'll
much.
get I'll get a couple adults. Yeah.
Kando, me, Tim, we're set. We're set. 3 premier
Yeah.
players.
I could expand it even more. Dude. Let me get Kiri. Let me get that baiter on this podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, get carry on.
That'd be fun.
Get him to answer for his crimes, maybe.
Get
Tell-
him to
tell-
answer for his crimes of demo reviewing us going into
Oh.
finals.
Yeah.
That's what.
Wow.
That's actually why we lost. Like we won the map we never played before, but we lost the 2 that Kiri had demos on.
Did he
Like,
review
bro.
your scrim demos? Did he get your scrim demos?
No, he watched our just regular demos,
He got the scrim demos. Oh no.
bro.
From the tier that doesn't scrim.
The one tier that doesn't put any effort into like reading each other. It's like, okay, no, we just know how to play against these guys.
Show up.
Nope.
Yeah.
He actually is like, no, we're demo reviewing these guys. We're like, come on.
Yeah. Well,
Like
he's
we
got a
ha- like,
vendetta
I-
against you. What can I say?
We have jobs. Come on, please.
Yeah, Kiri's job is to anti-strat the shit out of you. Clearly.
I guess that's all he's good for, apparently.
Yeah,
My
okay.
goodness. Look, he's good at it. He did it. It worked.
Oh my god.
My goodness.
All right, this is falling apart fast. Kono, get us out of here.
I'm demo reviewing cow, bro.
No, you're not.
Moving cow.
They're moving cow. They're cooked.
We're done.
We're done. Get us out of here.
We're done.